And we're live. Great Scott, we're live. We're here at the Sense.org Foundation Donor Appreciation Event. And here we are for the second time today, getting ready to check out this event and to check out everybody who donated. I think it's an excellent opportunity. I already heard from the Sense Foundation saying that the interview that we did last week at hexconference.com increased the amount of donations that the Sense Foundation got. So we are still making progress here to help with longevity research. The Hex and Pulse Chain.com communities have raised over $27 million for the Sense Foundation to help with medical research. I just saw Richard Hart walk by here at this online event. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're there in the chat, please confirm that you can hear the sound. There should be some elevator music playing. If you can hear that, then we're all set to go explore and to meet some more of the researchers and staff that are using the $27 million that the Hex and Pulse communities raised to fight aging and to advance medical research. Thanks for saying the sound looks good. Awesome. Here we go.
Feel free to move around the space. Use the arrow buttons on the screen.
So I know we did not hit all of, so if you are here on YouTube, you can check the stream from earlier today, and we hit all of these different explanations of what the Sense Foundation is doing at different cellular levels. And we heard from Aubrey de Grey. I ran into him and he said hi at the very beginning of the last recording. So that was amazing. And so we're just going to cruise around here. I don't think we saw all of the different, like, meet the staff. I think we saw all the meet the staff along that wall. But there might be some more that we haven't seen.
My name is Ann Corwin.
My name is Michael Ray.
Here we go.
SRF since there was an SRF back in 2009. And before that, I was actually with the precursor of SRF when we were embedded inside the Methuselah Foundation. So I am a science writer for SENS Research Foundation. I wear a lot of different hats. I do a lot of our external communications to the public to translate what kind of science we're doing to a general audience. I also do a lot of science technical briefings for our inside organization. And I participate in our research development committee, where we decide what our key scientific priorities are and how we're going to award grants to new organizations that are proposing new rejuvenation biotechnology research. Aging really is the medical problem. It is the cause of 110,000 people's deaths every single day. It is the predominant cause of death worldwide, now even in developing countries. It also causes just an enormous amount of suffering. The so-called diseases of aging, if we're looking at Alzheimer's or cardiovascular disease or cancer, those are all just particular manifestations of the aging process. We really have to tackle aging head on instead of trying to attack these individual diseases one by one, which is a really failed approach. I think I've always really recognized that the ways that people accommodate themselves to aging and death are sort of nice stories that don't really help us very much. I think it only became something I was aware of in the 1990s that there were actually scientists working on the idea of intervening in aging and developing therapies against aging, and maybe there are things we could already do against aging. And that just immediately captivated and excited me. And the more I followed that thread, the more I got into the core science that eventually led me to Dr. de Grey and the damage repair approach, which is the really iterable way that we can ultimately conquer aging as a process of disease and debility in human beings. So liberating us all from the specter of the idea that all of us and all of our loved ones are on a declining path from the time we reach a so-called peak in our 20s is just going to open up so much limitless human potential and just so much relief from this specter hanging over us through our lives. It will be a truly re-envisioned humanity that is just an inescapable vision. Our donors are, of course, the core of everything that we're doing. Science costs money. It's an expensive endeavor. It costs money to keep our science fed and housed, and it costs money to keep our scientists and all the reagents they need, to keep our lab mice alive, to do everything that we're doing. And there is just no way to do that without funding. And especially in the early years to get us going, it was just critical to have money that was independent of the very narrow vision of the National Health Institutes of Health and other funding sources. And now to be able to do really radical work that is still not recognized within the NIH or conventional funding sources. There's nothing like, individual donors who are supporting the vision of a future free of aging and willing to gamble on really exciting, really breakthrough research to keep us going.
Awesome. So he spoke at the HEX conference
My
on
name is
day
Michael
3.
Ray. I've been.
That's amazing.
SENS Research Foundation is working aggressively on new biotechnologies to rejuvenate the immune system and make older people more resilient to infections and age-related disease in general. Make your pledge in support of SENS Research Foundation and a future free of age-related disease. The SENS Research Foundation team and I wish you the very best of health.
My name is Maria Entraigues Abramson, and I'm the Director of Outreach at SENS Research Foundation. I've been a part of the organization since its founding days in 2009. Part of my work is on fundraising, development, relationship building, spreading the word about our work, event organizing, public speaking, social media, media relations, and serving as the main point of contact to the community. I think we can all confidently say that getting sick is a very scary thing and probably one of the most concerning problems in life, if not the most concerning. When we age, we inevitably get ill. In fact, we get terminally ill, and the age-related diseases we all get end up taking our lives. The way medicine treats aging today is not very effective, as it keeps people alive longer, but in very bad health. And that's what we want to change. For some reason, since I was a kid, I would always pay attention to how old people felt and how they acted. I realized they were suffering a lot. They were feeling a lot of pain, losing the memory, vision, ability to walk, becoming isolated. I thought this was awful. And I was surprised to see that most people were very accepting of it. I was constantly researching, trying to understand what exactly aging was. And that's how one day I found out that our co-founder, Dr. Aubrey de Grey, existed. I was so excited to read his materials. He was just saying everything I had been thinking about for so long, for so many years. I contacted him and offered my help. Many years later, here I am. SRF is a very unique organization formed by a very unique, brilliant and wonderful group of people. We came a long way, and I'm very proud to say that our role was critical in the formation of this industry. I would like to thank our donors, big and small. You're pioneers. Your contributions will help save countless lives and will also help build a world free of age-related disease. Let's build it together.
Hell yeah.
My
My name is Bhavna Dixit.
Maybe we'll find somebody who doesn't know about Hex and impress them with the $27 million that we donated to a cause that they like, and then we can get everybody together here. Oh, this is cool. Conference organizing. Oh, she's busy. Or away from her computer.
Time and but I never had a chance to work with him, so this is the first opportunity that I have right now. So
yeah, Aubrey's been great. I mean, I started working with Sense about 2 years ago. I've known him, you know, for much longer, but in this time I totally realize how his vision is absolutely vital in what we're doing at Sense Research Foundation. So we've been able to, we've been talking to like somebody earlier today, and we were saying like, some of the stuff you're doing is reimagining senolytics completely, and various other approaches that are being developed. I'm pretty excited about those things, and hopefully when these papers are finally published, you'll be able to talk about it more openly. Yeah. So I think Hadi coming in is a great idea. I think he'll push that idea of combining various therapies forward. So very excited about that. So.
Hi, Mati.
Hey.
Welcome joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm broadcasting onto YouTube right now, and I've brought the Hex community, which Hex and Pulse Chain and Richard Hart had raised $27 million for the Sense Foundation this year, and I'm trying to raise awareness so that maybe the people in Hex and Pulse can donate even more this year and in the years to come, because I think the Sense Foundation is so amazing. And I'd love to hear from you guys and hear what your role is and what brings you here today.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you for your help. Yeah. As Amit was talking, he's developing this nice project. Amit, if you can talk about that, and I will after that talk about what I will be doing. Yeah,
please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I am the head of immunology here at Sense Research Foundation, and my lab is mainly focusing on understanding how the innate immune system is responsible for removal of senescent cells and how we can arm it. So we're trying to understand why is there a decline of age, age-related decline in immune surveillance of senescent cells, and we have some very interesting observations on that. We're looking into finding ways to improve it. We found a new subpopulation of T cells very recently, which seems to be very effective in killing senescent cells, and I think there is a potential for therapeutics over there. In addition to that, we're also looking to identify novel surface receptors, and we have some really cool stuff coming along right now. We're patenting all that that we've developed recently. And we found out while we were doing all this, inadvertently found out some new drugs which are targeting novel pathways for treatment of senescent cells. So I think some really good stuff going on. And then Hadi joins in, and then he's going to be able to promote Aubrey's vision, further. Hadi, you wanna tell us about?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I joined here to mostly to do a combination between senolytics and stem cell transplantation. The senolytics are compounds that remove old cells, senescent cells, and we want to remove them first because they are harmful, of course, but also because a series of chronic diseases associated with aging. But we want to remove them also because when people do stem cell transplantation, these old cells, these senescent cells, they interfere with the regenerative potential of transplantation. So we want to remove them first. So therefore, after we transplant young cells, stem cells, their regenerative potential will be much improved. So we're doing this combination because people either do senolytics or stem cells, but not both. And also the order of doing them is critical. You want to do senolytic first, then stem cells. Yeah. So that's why we'll be starting very soon. And also there will be some other collaborations with AMIT and other groups, and that will be developing very soon. We'll talk about them later. Yeah.
Sounds like a very integrative approach.
Absolutely, and
that's what
and we really have very common interest with AMIT and Muta and other investigators, and really well putting our effort together to really help each other and push things faster. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I have to say that, like, I mean, when we started working on this, a lot of what we're doing now wouldn't have been possible in conventional university settings. They wouldn't even try to get into this because, you know, most people look at this and say, oh yeah, most of the work on senescence is done, drugs are out there, but they don't talk about how some of these drugs are not necessarily very specific and they have toxicity. We've seen it ourselves. Others are also looking into this. So the money that has come in has allowed us to do a lot of work, this kind of work, and I think you'll see the fruits of it pretty soon.
Yeah. And I think one of the beautiful things that AMIT has done so far is really identify specific markers of senescent cells, so we can target them selectively without any side effects on other tissues, normal tissues. And that was lacking in the field so far. And thanks to AMIT, who really started this, that nobody really was doing it, is to really try to identify what distinguishes senescent cells from all other cells. And this way you can target them, of course, with senolytics, which is doing, and also target them with for immunotherapy. So that's solved the whole problem. Yeah.
Awesome.
Open a lot of opportunities.
And we've like a new genetic engineer joining our team. He's supposed to be a really good expert in CAR technology. And the idea is now all these receptors that we've identified, we will be using to generate CAR NK cells as another like cell therapy product for removal of senescent cells, something that Hadi can maybe combine with his approach of multiple interventions.
So yeah, we are very excited, and we have this is good time to do research actually in this institution. Yeah.
Awesome.
How are you guys enjoying the conference so far?
It's been great.
Very clever.
Yeah. It's pretty close to the real thing. I mean, not quite, but do this now actually feels pretty nice.
I think these are promising area of research, and basically it's cutting edge. That's what we're addressing, things that are really needed to be addressed. They were not addressed before, so that's the beauty of this investigations.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Anything that we can answer? All right. Well, it was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Yeah.
Gotten from all this time. Thank you.
Thanks for the important work that you do, and looking forward to continued to continue partnerships here and people continuing to give. Again, I'm streaming on YouTube. And I know last week we had a couple of representatives from the Sense Foundation speak at the hexconference.com that I hosted. And we had over 10,000 views on that video. And it was lined up with quantitative analysis people, developers, 2 NFL players, 2 members of the Sense Foundation. And so it was really exciting to see so many people participate and so many people get interested. I guess Maria said that more donations have come in since that. And so I'm just hoping that this continues to be something year after year, that people who are investing in cryptocurrency can also be investing in buying themselves more time.
Yeah, and we strive to keep you informed on all the stuff you're doing, so you realize that this money is well spent. So
Yes.
we will do our best to make sure that information is also passed on.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
That's awesome.
How are you, Hadi?
Good to see you. Are you enjoying the meeting so far?
Yeah, it's been really nice to meet and see all the donors. They're so passionate, and it's really nice to see that it's not just us in the research center who care about this.
Yes, that's great. That's great. We are very lucky that we have all people supporting us. That definitely will make a huge difference. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I would like to know the progress of the MitoSense. And then also, like, I remember there's another ongoing project, like basically new project for rejuvenating the basically using stem cells and also clearing senescent cells. So how's that going so far?
Yeah, we actually just started this new project. I just joined the foundation at the beginning of this month, and we are starting doing some in vitro studies right now to identify the best senolytics to use, and from there we will start testing it in vivo in mice and combine it with stem cells, and then hopefully we can get some results very soon.
Yeah, that would be great. And then, like, are there any other related or like basically similar projects going on, basically for combining like different rejuvenations or basically for fixing the different types of damages, right? Since like for Sense, you guys mentioned, or like you guys believe that there are 7 types of damages.
Yeah, to my knowledge, there is nobody really have tried this approach of combining the two, and especially in the order that we are doing it. We want to remove old cells because they are harmful, and then we want to transplant with stem cells. This is an idea that it just was developed by Sense recently, and I was hired to implement it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's good that like you guys are working on anti-aging or reversing aging. Yeah, it would be great. It would be great if we can actually live like another few more 100 years, and then like and then at least see like maybe iPhone 244 or something, and then like Tesla with like different models, and then going to like different planets, things like that.
Let's hope, we will do our best to whatever we can achieve, we will, that will be good. Yeah.
That's just great. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so those are the 7 types of damage that we reviewed before.
Hi, welcome to SENS Research Foundation's Donor Appreciation Event. I'm Lisa Fabini-Kaiser. I'm the Executive Director of SRF. And welcome. I'm really excited to see you all. I hope you get a chance to talk to our staff. They're all mingling around. I hope you get a chance to talk to each other and find common ground. Meet some new people, make some new connections. If you need to talk to me, I am lingering near the VIP room just outside, but I will probably be floating around a bit too. Anyway, I hope you have a great time and enjoy your event.
Hey there.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm cool. Nice to meet you. Oh.
Another.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Welcome. I thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Some of you have been pioneering this work with us for many years, and many of you here today are new donors, and we want to celebrate all of you. By the way, I'm the Director of Outreach. Historically, our donors event has been basically a gathering where you can mingle and get to know each other and meet the staff. And we can do the same today, but at the same time, we have this wonderful platform. And so we added some materials and some cool stuff for you to check out. I want to tell you a couple of things about that. Well, first, I want to say that the research stuff that you see is not all of it. We are expanding the internal research programs right now, so we have a lot of stuff coming up, and we have sub-programs in both MitoSense and ApoptoSense. We are expanding and revamping our educational programs, and a lot is going on, very exciting things. We have a marketplace that we're launching today, and branded materials. We have a 15% discount that is going to last until tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And a couple of things about the platform. There's a map on the, you may have not noticed that it's there on the left side of the hand side of the screen. There's a key icon. You can click on it and it's going to open a menu, and then it shows you all the areas of the room. If you click on one of the areas, you'll see an icon showing up on the area. It's like a little computer screen. So then you can move around with the arrows and go to that spot. What else? Videos are, they start by proximity, and there are a lot of things you can click on that you can find the little icon with the finger, the clicky finger, and on the banners and some of the walls of the booths, etc. And it will open a new window so that you can read more information and see other things that you can even maybe check out later after the event. I don't want to take too much time. We have the Ending Aging book for sale by Aubrey de Grey and Michael Ray in 5 different languages. They're all around in little stands, so you can click on them and go to Amazon and buy them. And yes, so much to tell you, but find me around and we can chat, have fun. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for being here. We're working really hard to fix the problem of aging, and enjoy the beautiful views of Manhattan. I will see you around. Thanks.
So I am streaming on my YouTube channel here because there are a lot of people in the HEX community who helped donate $27 million to the SENS Foundation. And I'm hoping that people will, like myself, continue to give year after year, because really I think it's important what the SENS Foundation is doing. And so I wanted to check in with you and see what brings you here and what message you have for everybody today.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, thank you so much for your generous donation. I'm a research associate at SENS who started in 2020 as a research fellow and have become a full-time staff because of the work that's been done, and that I'm also fascinated and very passionate about aging as well. So
awesome.
It's really great to be able to interact with donors like you to share our work. I'm currently involved in the MitoSense team, where we are focused on addressing mitochondrial mutations. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the project, but yeah, I'm part of that team at the moment.
Yeah, go ahead and drop some science on me.
Yeah, sure. So the MitoSense project is focused on developing an approach called Allotopic Expression, which is engineering a functional copy of mitochondrial genes to be expressed in the nucleus and have it translocate to the mitochondria. And we're focused on this because with aging, we get a lot of damage and mutations accumulating in the mitochondria. And with that, it's prevalent in a lot of diseases that we know of today, including Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and even cancer as well. And so we're hoping that by providing and introducing this copy, our cellular mechanisms are able to use this functional copy and, replicate that and overcome this mutation. So then it'll overcome the burden of disease that's taking over the body as we age.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the next step then with the research that you're doing?
Currently, we are working on, optimizing the different parameters for the 13 genes that we are working on. We hope to develop translational approaches and develop gene therapy strategies that can go into clinical trial. We currently have one gene that has been successful in animal model. And so hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to progress further with that and be able to apply what we learned to the other genes that we are focused on as well.
That sounds awesome. And just to give you a little background, like the thing about Hex that I think lines up so well with the Sense Foundation is Hex is a cryptocurrency where you time lock your money. And so you can imagine, like in Bitcoin, people who time locked, well, people didn't really time lock their money. And so they were, they were more likely to sell when Bitcoin went from a penny to $10 or from $10 to $1,000. And in Hex, it's basically, it's something where the average user has already time locked for 6 years. And we've got about 70,000 people who are in that group of people who, as I like to say, are sending money to your future self. And so, so when we think about how this is creating a lot of wealth, the price of Hex has gone up like 500 times since I finished buying into it in the first 9 months that it existed. So, the first buys that I did are probably up 1,000x, and for every dollar put in, $1,000 now is what it's worth. And so it's really incredible. I think in the future, people in the Hex community who have time locked money, for me, it's every year I have money coming out on my birthday, and I'm wanting to give some of that money to the Sense Foundation to hopefully buy me more birthdays overall in my life. And for the Hex community, I hope that others can team up with me and to help get the word out to make sure that all of us are continuing to donate as we can to this cause that you all are working on. So I wanted to thank you for all the work you're doing. And I hope that everybody who's watching at home will consider continuing to donate to the Sense Foundation.
Yeah, and that's really great. Honestly, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do without, supporters and donors like everyone here. So it's a great opportunity for us to say thank you today. And, hopefully we will all have more birthdays in the future to celebrate. Definitely. I was curious about Hex because if I'm understanding correctly, Hex is a pretty new cryptocurrency, right?
Well,
or
Hex is very unique in that it didn't get a lot of press in the beginning. And so even though it's been around for 2 years and it was given free to Bitcoin holders in the beginning, a lot of people didn't necessarily believe in it for one reason or another. And now it's starting to get to that moment where it feels like it's about to go viral. I hosted a Hex conference here last weekend, and it was a 4-day event. It was 6 to 7 hours each day. We had over 100 YouTube channels participate. They're all Hex streamers. And so it's usually at about 2 years is when things go viral, I think, when it comes to crypto. And we're we're getting close to that moment, I think, and so it's really exciting.
That's really exciting. Yeah. May I ask, kind of,
Please.
are there any like common interests in the Hex community, or are people coming from different walks of life? I did check out the your website for a little bit and noticed the conference and saw a lot of people and a lot of organizations. So I was curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to different Hex meetups all around the country. I bought a DeLorean, like in Back to the Future. And yeah, so I bought that with, you know, my Hex gains. I think it cost me like $160, but it was really like an $80,000 car. But so anyway, so the people in the Hex community, we all meet up, and I can tell you that it's people from all different walks of life. This is really something that has made a lot of new millionaires. On my YouTube channel alone, there are about 7,000 people subscribed right now, and we think that at least 2,000 people have become millionaires from Hex, including myself, just the people who are watching my channel. And so it's really exciting to see really a financial opportunity that exists for so many people. And then the people in the Hex community are trying to use the money that, you know, that they've gained to pay it forward, to help others, to fund medical research, to retire early, and to start YouTube channels and stuff to get the word out. So.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I think especially with like the recent years, like social media blowing up and connecting a lot of people, you know, things like the Hex community really brings people together and really allows people to share like different missions or different causes they're passionate about. So it's really cool that, you know, you're able to share with everyone that you're passionate about supporting SENS and the aging research that we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm excited too, because it's a good cause. It's something I believe in. It's something that I think the world hasn't really woken up to make aging a #1 thing, or to make it so that more people are coming together. And so I really see it as being early in the process, and to want to get the word out. It benefits me. My background is in neuroscience, doing EEG acquisition for tobacco cessation studies. And then, so I did that for 7 years. And then I did 7 years of being a substance abuse counselor for Medicaid clients. And so I've seen like, you know, from more of a basic research level to clinical, and actually trying to help people change their behaviors. And so I really think that that there's a lot that people can still learn. We're still early in this world of technology and of people kind of cooperating together. But that's one thing that I like about crypto and mental health going together, is that if you give the right incentives to people, then that changes their behavior more than forcing people to do stuff. And so if the incentive for people in crypto is, yeah, maybe I do want to take my 500x or my 1000x gains, and maybe I do want to donate some of that to buy myself more years of healthy life, to increase my health span. That, you know, how incredible would that be for everybody involved, and to move forward humanity in that way as well.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Like, one of the major reasons why I got into research in this field is because I have family members who've been affected by Alzheimer's. And definitely when looking at like the data and the stats, I definitely feel like there's not a lot of funding that's going towards all of these, like the aging related diseases and research. And so it's really cool that, you know, now, you know, hopefully it's getting more traction, but that's definitely an issue that I've seen. So it's really cool to see that, you know, people, you know, even though it's like, I don't know how big the community may be, but even just having people support that and being like, I can contribute this towards research for aging, that means so much.
Yeah. I mean, if Hex and the other things that Richard Hart created, if they continue to do as well as they have been, there's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars going to Sens or billions of dollars going to Sens, I think, because that's what we're talking about when we do this next 10x, when we do this next 100x. And you mentioned Alzheimer's. Have you heard at all of the Philips Deep Sleep Headband?
Philips Deep Sleep Headband. I have not.
So my background's EEG and brainwaves.
Yes.
And so it's commercially available. It's like $400 to order it. Or you can get a used one like on eBay for a couple $100 where somebody only used it once. And what it is it's a headband, and it measures your brainwaves while you're sleeping. And there's actually some research that shows that a lot of the problems that occur with Alzheimer's might be sleep related. So this makes a lot of sense to me, given like my neuroscience background, because when we think about how information is moving around in the brain, when we're awake, much of it is high frequency activity, your beta waves and whatnot. And so when people sleep, there's a lot more slow wave activity. That's how the different stages of sleep are even measured, is what frequency band you're in. When you hear a loud car go by, it's got a stereo system in the trunk and it's blaring the music. You hear the bass come through your wall, not the high frequency stuff. And so it's the low frequency bass waves that travel through the wall because they're so slow. They're slow waves and they can travel through, and the high frequency stuff just bounces off. And that's why we can hear a bass sound farther away through walls compared to other sounds. In the brain, when you sleep, you have slow wave activity that allows information to transfer from where memories are stored in the back of the brain to the prefrontal cortex, where you have your memories are basically, they have to be copied over, because it's my understanding that most brain cells aren't more than 7 years old, but we can remember things from more than 7 years ago. And so that process of sending memories from the hippocampus to the prefrontal cortex and then back to the hippocampus to a different group of cells to keep that memory alive, that's the process that most scientists think is that's how memories are transferred in the brain. That's why we sleep, basically. And so when you're wearing this deep sleep headband, what it's doing is it's got and I've used it for a year or two, but it's got some headphones built into it. And so it can play a slow wave sound while you're sleeping and tell what stage of sleep you're in. And then your memory, basically by injecting slow wave sounds into your head, it allows your memories to ride on top of those slow waves so that you don't have to generate them yourself. And that's really important for Alzheimer's, because you can see as people grow older and older, they get less and less slow wave activity in their sleep, and they get less of this deep sleep. And so it's no wonder that they can't transfer memories and cause their memories to be copied over. There's a problem there if you're not getting the deep sleep that you need. And so wearing this deep sleep headband actually improves the amount of slow wave sleep that you get. And for me, it matters because I could tell the difference. I could put this on at night. I could wake up in the morning and I would know if I hit the button to start it or not, because it's that obvious that I wake up feeling more rested, sharper memory, even if I've slept less. And so it's the life hack that I recommend to people, even if For me, I don't want to get Alzheimer's like people in my family have, but for other people, maybe they just want that extra 2 hours of their life back. And so you can get the same amount of deep sleep in 6 hours that you would in 8. So
Yeah.
definitely something to check out. The research is pretty solid, actually. And it's something that I think matters.
That's
Incoming
really
call.
cool. I am very fascinated. I'll definitely need to check that out.
Totally.
Hey guys.
Hey there.
Hello.
Incoming call.
Am I interrupting?
No.
Not at all. Welcome.
Oh, hey.
Oh, there you are
mute.
again.
Yeah, I was confused about what was going. Hey, I saw you, Maddie, and I just wanted to say thanks for the videos you're doing on YouTube. I appreciate your work.
My pleasure.
And that was about it, man. I'm still. I shouldn't be hearing the music right now while I'm on the video call, so that's confusing me. Yeah, I'm just
I
testing
just
out the
turned it
interface
off when I
here.
joined. You can turn it off.
Oh.
So we're streaming now onto my channel on YouTube and trying to get the audience at home here, who are
Is that
mostly
right?
people in Hex, to consider continuing to donate to the Sens Foundation. We did a video earlier today and got 1,100 views already. And last weekend we had the Hex conference and got 10,000 views for a couple members of the Sens Foundation who were speaking. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'd love to hear from you guys what your role is in the Sens Foundation and what you'd like the audience to hear today.
Oh, we're live?
We're live.
Well, I'm not
There
with
you
the
go
Sens
first.
Foundation, so the other ladies might want to speak.
Carly, did you already go?
Yeah, I did share.
Hi, Hex. My name's Caitlin. I did MitoSense kind of with Carly for the first like 4.5 years that I was here with the foundation, and now I'm working more closely with Aubrey, just kind of going back to projects that we maybe didn't get all the way around to pursuing, or there wasn't enough evidence for at the time, and seeing how the field has evolved and what we may or may not want to pursue now. Yeah.
Awesome.
Kind of in a nutshell. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, well, for anybody who might be
And-
interested in coming into this thing, I've been wandering around here having a look. The interface is pretty cool. Anybody who's done first-player video games would be relatively familiar with the way things are working. So it's an interesting interface, and you get to see some very nice educational videos about what the research teams have been working on lately. It's very educational, very interesting stuff. The science is incredible. So if anybody's hesitant about getting in here and checking something out, just come on in. It's fine.
Absolutely.
That's a good enough pitch, I think. So.
And what's your connection to Sens?
Very good pitch. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm just here because I got involved with Hex on day one, and then through that I paid attention. I wasn't following too closely for the first year, and then I saw the character that Richard is, so I started tuning into his broadcasts, and sooner or later just got really into the community, not on video or anything, but just following what people are doing, and got involved in the Pulse Chain launch, and here I am.
Awesome.
I donated to the Sens Foundation through that the Pulse Chain thing. Yeah. What a guy for setting up a system like that to send so much money to the people who are doing things that matter.
Yes.
Right.
Revolutionary.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, I didn't even expect I was going to be streaming live. I came over here just to say thank you to you, Maddie.
Of course.
For the work you've been doing.
My pleasure.
And I actually just came over here from speaking with Caitlin. so yeah, it's pretty interesting little gathering here.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna head out of here, guys. So
thanks
have a
for
good
stopping
evening.
by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Take care.
So, Maddie, is it?
Yes.
Right? Can you Hex as in the crypto hex?
That's correct.
Is that what is it? Is it a protocol?
Yeah, so Hex is a cryptocurrency that was launched 2 years ago by Richard Hart, and it's his first project ever. It took him a couple of years to design the game theory behind it. Basically, it's a cryptocurrency where you time lock your money, and so I say this is like sending money to your future self. It's kind of like a time deposit, or
like buying treasury notes or something.
yes, and that's it's actually modeled after that. Bitcoin was modeled after cash, which is you know, several $1 trillion market. Bank CDs and time deposits are actually a bigger market than cash is, and so that's Hex is the first
inflation resistant.
Yes, yeah, and now I mean Hex has gone up hundreds and hundreds of X's, and so it's really exciting.
Damn. It's too, and it wouldn't be early then.
A lot of people would say that it's still early because if we look at how Bitcoin performed and how Ethereum performed, Hex is tracking those very closely. It's actually doing a little bit better 2 years in than Bitcoin did 2 years in, or Ethereum did 2 years in. And there's still a lot of chart left to go up and to the right. So yeah, it's really cool because
I just started dabbling recently, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, there's something going on now. So Richard's second coin was Pulse Chain, and that's a copy of Ethereum that raised $27 million for the Sense Foundation. The third coin that he's launching is accepting, you know, initial investments now, and you can learn more at pulsex.com. And there's one of these game theory things where the price goes up 5% each day until it gets released here in about 2 to 4 months. And so it's really cool to see that PulseX and Pulse Chain will be launching at the same time. All the other cryptocurrencies that followed this model of copying Ethereum did between a 14x and a 2000x. And so my prediction is if Pulse Chain does a 100x, then there will be millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of more donations to the Sense Foundation. And I hope that people watching at home, you know, that they're excited about that as well. So
yeah, and keep the work going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
What is your involvement? Because I see you have hexconference.com, and I'm assuming you have a podcast.
Yeah. So
what?
Let's see. I guess.
Tell me more.
So I worked as a neuroscientist for 7 years in a brainwave laboratory where we studied smoking cessation. And then I worked for 7 years as a mental health counselor, helping people quit drugs and improving mental health. And then I got into Hex. Hex made me a millionaire. Now I talk about mental health and cryptocurrency on YouTube. And so I get to say things like, take omega 369 because it will help your prefrontal cortex. It will help myelinate the axons, right? The ogliodendrocyte is the type of brain cell that installs the myelin sheath on the axons, and you can't have your myelin sheath installed without enough omega-3. A lot of adults in the United States they're not underweight, but they're malnourished when it comes to something like omega-3. And so people can get it for $5 a month at their local grocery store. And for a lot of people, including myself, it's become really clear that taking omega 369 improved mental clarity, improved quality of life. Like I find it easier to do things that I wasn't motivated to do before. And a lot of people also have described this after 1 to 4 weeks of taking omega-3, then there's a noticeable difference. For me, it was an aha moment. And it was like, why have I been so much more motivated and clear thinking? And so I have this awesome position now where I'm financially free. I can go on YouTube, speak my mind. It's not medical advice, not financial advice, but I'm just sharing what worked for me. And I think, so Sens is going to be one of the topics that I keep coming back to because I'm so excited about it.
That's great. Well, we appreciate your support. I mean, it's great to be able to talk about something that you've experienced,
Yes.
that you believe without, worrying about, whether or not it's going to be okay with, the powers that be, for you to be promoting that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
take your omegas.
Yeah. Yeah. When I, when
There's
I was
no harm.
Unless you're on blood thinners, the reason it's so safe is because it's supposed to be in the food that we eat, and it doesn't work its way up the food chain like it used to, because not all cattle are grass-fed anymore, and not as many people have access to fish necessarily, which is another great source of natural omega-3, and so yeah, it's really exciting to be meeting all of you and to be looking forward, because a lot of people, like I said before, in the Hex community, we've time locked our money. And so for me, I've got money coming out every year on my birthday. And so if I can take a portion of those mad gains, and I can buy myself more birthdays, then that's a pretty cool possibility. And it's something
I love that.
I'm wanting to invest in myself. And I hope other people watching at home would want to do the same.
I love that. That should be our one of our donation models.
Totally.
More birthdays.
Totally. Buy more birthdays.
Save that. Yeah, that's great. So I'm gonna write this down.
Incoming call.
I'm assuming hexconference.com. It will link me to your podcast.
It will, yeah. I'm Maddie ALLin on YouTube and everything else. Hey, it's Richard Hart.
Right.
Say hi.
I can't see. There we go.
I see a bunch of girls sitting somewhere, and there's Maddie right up on top of them. Yeah, Maddie.
Bill, is that about right?
He's also got the best profile pic there. Look at that. Hexpo
Thanks.
Online. It looks so good, dude. Looks really good. I like that icon. What's going on, everybody?
Okay, cool.
How's it going? It's going good.
It's going.
I'm ignoring my friends.
Yeah,
I have some friends over. I'm just like ignoring them to be in the virtual world.
You already
They're
saw
less
them
than
today,
happy
right?
about this. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. What are y'all talking about over here?
Yeah.
Anything cool?
He's telling me about Hex. Maddie's
Well, that seems about matches the name. You would expect that from all the
and I also talked about Omega 369, and I talked about the Philips Deep Sleep Headband, where I feel like I get 8 hours of sleep with only 6 hours, and it might help Alzheimer's.
What's it do? What's it do to you?
It measures with EEG what stage of sleep you're in, and then it plays slow waves so that your memory waves can ride on top and go in between the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex and back.
I don't know, Maddie. This sounds like a scam.
Philips
I don't know.
Deep Sleep Headband.
Hex sounds like a scam too.
Yeah,
I've
you can
worn
do that
it
with binaural
for a
beats.
year.
Does it work with binaural beats? I don't know. I can try it out. The Philips Sleep Headband. All right. I'm gonna go say hi to Aubrey. It was nice seeing you guys.
Likewise.
Keep killing it. Save my life, please. See you later.
Well, thank you.
That was epic. Richard is quite the personality. He's so the cool thing about Richard is he's a billionaire and he won't tell you this. He's a billionaire in Bitcoin, in Ethereum. I think he's got $1 billion of USDC, and he's a billionaire in Hex, and he founded Pulse Chain. And so the difference between Richard and every other founder in crypto is Richard never needs, he never has to sell any Hex ever.
Yeah.
He can buy Hex. Yeah. He can pump the price all he wants. And as long as he doesn't talk about it, then it's not a security. Then it's not breaking any laws. But I think it's really cool that that he plays by the rules, that he does things like, and that's how I found out about the Sense Foundation is from Richard. And
good
really
guy to
cool.
have on your team.
Yeah.
So are you broadcasting
thanks.
us out. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
There's 50 people watching live and probably 1,000 or 2,000 on the replay.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, I'm going to go meander, I guess.
Yeah,
and
likewise.
find somebody to talk to. But it was nice meeting you, and I'm going to check out your channel.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Nice
It was
Maddie.
great talking to you, Maddie.
Likewise. Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Oh, it's sold out. No. Again, eBay. eBay is a great source. I have bought several for family members, friends on eBay. Hey, you know, if we can all help each other improve our prefrontal cortex functioning, you know, that's what's up. Yes, we just heard from Richard Hart. He's gonna check out the Philips Deep Sleep Headband. And do you tell people to test their omega levels too? No, I tell people to look and see what their diet is, and to see if you're not getting it through food, then you can get it through supplements. And it's not anything fancy, like I said, it's just omega-369. There should be a link in the description on some of my videos. I can drop a link now too to the kind that I take, which they're all the same. They're not all the same, but they're all very similar, so you can check that out. It was epic. Hilarious. Awesome. So people continue to drop mad knowledge in the chat. Thank you. So we've been, all right. It hasn't felt like an hour already. We've gotten to meet so many cool people, and let's see if there are more people that we can teach about Hex and learn more about what they do. All the VIPs are mingling out with the rest of us here.
Be opening up like kind of holes in the body, and then we will be going in with a stem cell therapy afterwards, and then we will see what happens. So those alone have shown to show improved maximum lifespan. So now the question is, if we are applying both together, will we get even more of an expansion of life in mice? So and in this kind of like scenario, we will be doing more in the future. We haven't decided yet which will be the next one, but that definitely is an angle that's completely new at Sense. We kind of have in the past not worked a lot in vivo, like in mice, in rodents. So we're excited to actually start what we now call the preclinical angle at Sense. And then also some of our long-standing project around the mitochondria. They have started kind of a sub-project where they will be synthesizing a completely new mitochondrial DNA, which is technically very, very challenging. So that's also a new angle. We will have some work on getting rid of protein aggregates. We have some angles where we will be doing a cell and gene therapy. Yeah, loads of stuff. More questions? Any more further explanations I can give? And so the other things that we're doing is also like we for many years we lived on a very kind of small budget. So
Yes.
our kind of like machine park was pretty old and not having a lot. So we definitely got a lot of more machines in, which will help to accelerate our work, make life easier for our people. We're currently hiring to kind of expand and just get like more done in a shorter time. But it's kind of interesting to see that this is now a bottleneck, getting well-educated scientists is super difficult. I think they all are working on COVID apparently. The market is empty.
Well, I think I read something about some guy who's a hedge fund manager. He's probably a billionaire, and he was putting money into telomere research and saying he was going to pay his people $1 million a year, which sounds like, I guess if you're a billionaire, it's not that big a deal, but kind of makes you wonder whether people will go for the money or for the most promising research.
Well, I would say most people will probably go for the money, and cannot kind of blame them. I mean, I think dedicated people that are really interested in the mission or like curing aging are not that many. And that's why we have that education angle, because we think that if we're introducing students and scientists early on, while they're still kind of learning about the field, that we can get them excited and actually interested before they go and, I don't know, join a cancer company. And then work on the other end, like where everything is already kind of like done and has happened, instead of like in prevention where we are.
Yeah. So have you guys heard anything about what Calico is doing? That's the Google subsidiary.
Yeah, we know them. Not a lot. They are super tight. Usually not talking a lot. One can kind of guess what they're doing. So they acquired a company that is working on repurposing drugs, but no one knows towards what, aging or an age-related disease. I have no idea. They work a lot in the naked mole rats. That's what they usually are presenting on. But again, it looks all like basic research to me, and not a lot on intervention there. But as I said, they are very, very quiet of what they're doing. So who knows? Maybe they will all tell us in 5 years, here's your cure, but I have not high hopes. It looks more that they are engaged in basic research.
Well, if people live longer, they can view more ads on the internet, right?
Yes.
That's a way to look at it. Yes.
Yep.
Make people live longer so that you can make more money out of them.
Yeah.
So why are you interested in Calico? Just because like it's known that they're working on aging, or is there?
Well, I pay some attention to what's going on. It's, for the last 10 years or so, and Calico made a splash a few years ago. And
yeah, the amount of money they put in is insane. I visited their facility. It's all kind of like big, beautiful labs filled with high tech to the brim. But as I said, no one really knows what they're doing. One can imagine a little bit by who they are hiring and kind of like that little bit of presentations that they're doing. But yeah, pretty closed community.
Well, it's hard for me to understand how and why Google spends some of its money. For example, self-driving cars, sure, it's a very interesting concept and it would be a breakthrough, but I don't see how it becomes a big business for Google. Maybe that's just my limited vision.
I don't know. I have no idea how they. Maybe there will be a self-driving software, and then we all have to buy a license, and then they make a lot of money.
Perhaps.
Hi, Matti.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I think I saw you earlier today. Yes.
Yes, I was in the morning session, and again, I'm streaming this onto YouTube to help the Hex community understand how the $27 million raised for the Sense Foundation this year is being used, but also to encourage people to follow me in my mission to continue to donate to the Sense Foundation. I think that it's an amazing opportunity to work together with people who are more long-term thinking and people who are invested in cryptocurrency and specifically Hex, who are time-locked for an average of 6 years, some up to 15 years. This is an opportunity for us to, for me, I have money coming out every year on my birthday. And so for me, I would love to use some of that money to buy more birthdays by donating to the Sense Foundation. And I'm encouraging others to do the same. So hello from all of us here on YouTube. And I'd love to hear more about what you all do. And I've got a question from the audience as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Where do you want to start? A question from the audience or more about what we're doing?
Maybe what you're doing first.
Okay, so I'm the vice president of research. So I'm basically overlooking all internal and external projects.
Awesome.
I don't know if you're kind of aware, there is, we're a smallish facility. We have a couple of projects that are internally. Usually these are projects that no one else is working on and no one has the expertise. And we feel it's necessary that we build up the expertise in-house to be really kind of like in the weeds and do it correctly. But where expertise already exists, we prefer to give money to like either the university or sometimes even companies to notch them towards the aging angle, unless they already work in it. But often it is like they have a technology that is interesting or an approach that is interesting, where we come in, we talk to them, or they find us, and then we kind of pivot it towards aging. So we always try to be very efficient with the money because universities usually have co-funding and like you have students coming by, so you don't have to pay them. They have to do courses and kind of lab work. So it's very efficient doing it that way.
Awesome.
In terms of projects, I don't know, have you talked to the other scientists? Like how much do you already know how many projects we have? I could go over all of them if you want to.
That would be amazing.
Okay, let me try if I get them all together. So we definitely have one that is about secondary senescence. So it is kind of a project that looks at like a subset of senescent cells and how they're different than other, and how they're more resistant to drugs that's supposed to be killing them. And we call them secondary senescence because they arise not from initial damage, but they kind of like arise when other senescent cells are already in your body, and then they kind of spread to kind of like make more senescent cells. And they seem to have slightly different properties. So we kind of like looking at them and studying the internal pathways and find drugs that also kill them very efficiently. So that's one kind of project. We also have a project in the senescent angle where we look at surface markers of senescent cells. First, because we can do diagnostics, we can do a better drug delivery to these cells, make drugs more specific, because current senolytic drugs are having quite a bit of side effects. So to make them more specific, to only target senescent cells, you need to kind of like somehow bring them to the senescent cells. So again, if you have a surface marker, that can be done. But I think the most active part of this is that we are trying to make NK cells, CAR NK cells. So I don't know how familiar you are. There are CAR T cells against cancer cells, and it would be the same principle. NK cell is just an immune cell. We modify it with something that recognizes senescent cell surfaces. And so basically what we do is we take your immune system and you target it to kind of like get rid of all these senescent cells in your body. So that's kind of a pretty active field. However, we're only doing cell culture in the moment. We hope that we will be moving into some form of animal models sometime like in the spring.
Awesome.
So that's the senescent stuff. We have one project on degrading tau aggregates. So everyone kind of have maybe heard about tau, usually in the context of Alzheimer. It's a protein aggregate that aggregates inside of cells and basically kills them over time. So what we want to do is kind of break these products down. And again, it has to be specific. because we just kind of don't want to break down everything. We just want to have these. So there's a subform of an antibody, which is called a catalytic antibody, which is like an enzyme. It is breaking down products. So that is kind of like very exciting thing, but also a very niche product. That's why we have it actually in-house. There's not a lot of like research going on in that area. So the idea would be that in the end you have like an antibody therapy where you give the antibody and that breaks down all the tau aggregates that are harmful, and hopefully that would show some form of benefit.
Awesome.
So that's that. We definitely have the MitoSense project. It's our longest running project. I think it's running since roughly 8 years. So that is a concept where you bring the genome or the genes from the mitochondria into the nuclei. Why do we do that? Because the idea is that the nuclei DNA is better protected. So it's an environment where kind of like not as many mutations are happening. So we have done quite a bit in that area. There are 13 genes that needs removal and transfer. We have shown for all of them in principle that we can make products, but not for all of them have we shown that there is a functional recovery. And also we have not combined them yet. So that will be quite some bit of work where you have to have like 13 genes basically. It's a big product. Getting that into the nuclei is not easy. So that will be kind of taking some more time. But what I can say is that we had our first transgenic mouse model where we, for one of the proteins, we had it expressed in the nuclei in the mouse since birth, and it's working. The protein is there. It's integrating into the mitochondria where it's supposed to be going. It's functional. The mouse doesn't show any kind of negative pathology or anything. And I think the oldest mouse is now over 12 months old, and it's still there. So for us, that's kind of
how long do mice live?
2.5 to 3 years normally. So yes, they're kind of like still youngish. We might keep some to just see if we can still find a product when they're very, very old. But we're pretty sure that this protein is still around when they're old, like it's not silenced or anything. So for us, this is kind of very exciting because it shows that in principle, it's doable in an animal.
Yeah.
It's not harmful. It's functional. It's in a living organism. Now we just have to add 12, just 12 more. That's easy enough. So that's the mitochondria.
And how many years do you think that might take to knock out the next 12?
Hard to say. I don't know. I'm not good at these prediction games. Like we will always be wrong. Like I will tell you it's 5 years, and then in 5 years you ask me again, and we still haven't done it. So it's depending a lot on other technologies as well. That's why it's so hard to predict, because it depends on like, okay, what vectors, what delivery systems will be available. Will we have patient lines with mitochondrial dysfunctions that we can use as a testing system? I don't know. Like there's so many kind of moving parts that it's hard to predict. It could be going way quicker, but I think a couple of years until we have something substantial. Again, like for one gene, we can do it already now, and we will be exploring that more to do like more in vivo work, just to see that our product is safe and that the delivery in adult animals is doable and everything. But yeah, it's hard to predict.
Awesome.
So the mitochondria, the MitoSense team also has some sub projects where we will be looking at alternatives more on the angle of like delivering mitochondrial replacements to bodies. But I can't talk more about it because it's kind of a very new approach and it's not patented yet. So I want to keep it a little bit vague, but it's basically kind of mitochondrial replacement, but with a slightly different angle to it. What else do we have? We have Xenostem, a project that looks at the use of senolytics and stem cells in mice in a kind of synergy fashion, where we have two interventions being given at the same time. And that project will also look at other synergies between other interventions. So in the future, we might be doing, I don't know, rapamycin and a stem cell therapy. So the idea there is to kind of test more than one intervention in mice. And we think that is kind of like a niche area, because we can, as a non-for-profit, we don't care where that product is coming from. So we don't have to make sure like my product is better than your product. We just go for like where the science is, and we will compare them and see kind of like what's the best intervention and what's the best combination.
Awesome.
We have external projects. We have one on trying to break down lipofuscin. Lipofuscin is a protein aggregate that kind of like accumulates in the lysosomes, and it's usually leading to some form of cell dysfunction, and the body can't break it down. So we will see if we find some enzyme or other type of intervention that can break it down, and we can get rid of it. So that's a kind of, I think, the recent project, external project that we acquired or kind of initiated. We have one that is looking at crosslinks in the extracellular matrix. This is a very fundamental product still. It's not like looking at intervention currently, because we're still trying to understand what's going on with crosslinks. So that's kind of work that is going on in Cambridge, UK. We do have a lot of like mass spec tools and assays available now to measure the crosslinks, and have also done kind of like an age study where we look like what is going up, what's going down. And the idea is basically that everyone thinks that you should get rid of like crosslinks in proteins. That is maybe not the best, or maybe you have to be very careful which one you're attacking. But it's definitely an area that no one is really looking into. Like it seems that the scientific community finds this very, very boring. And yes, it's not exciting. It's a lot of like just descriptive work, but it needs doing. Without knowing what's going on, we can't figure out what the intervention is.
Absolutely.
So that crosslinks, we have one project that looks at the activation of transposons. So there's the idea that with aging, the DNA is less controlled. So we have a lot of virus particles basically in our DNA that lives there. And usually it's silent, not doing anything. With aging, the kind of silencing is going away. And now you have a lot of like jumping DNA parts, and they scramble up your DNA. So there's now one mouse model that should be created where we can test this idea that if we are killing off cells where these transposons have become very, very active, will that lead to some lifespan expansion, like the removal of senescent cells? So it's kind of like similar idea, and they are creating the mouse model to test that idea.
So that's a more recent project. I hadn't heard about that one.
Yes, that's a project that we started like 2 years ago. But it's going pretty slowly, because making this mouse model has become quite a challenge, and it's not easy, and they haven't been successful. So that's why we haven't been able to actually start any in vivo work. They're still kind of like trying to build this mouse model.
So that's specific to the transposons, or that's the maximally modifiable mouse?
No, that's specific to the transposon. So the maximal modifiable mouse, that is the mouse model that we used in the mitochondria, where we delivered the mitochondrial gene into that kind of like safe harbor. So safe harbor is basically an area in your DNA where we think that if you put some new DNA in, like nothing bad will happen. Like it's inert. It's kind of safe.
Right.
So yeah, we also look at making these mouse models available to the community. So we're currently looking at like donating them to some form of like mouse archive where people can use the model. And the maximum modifiable mouse model can also be used with any other gene of your choice. So we hope that the community will kind of pick it up and use it, because we put a lot of money in and we want the community to use it.
That's great.
So, neural replacement. So rejuvenation of the neocortex. So that's a project at Einstein in New York, from Jean Herbert. And he looks at using microglia cells that are cells in the brain to replace neurons. And so here's the trick. Neuron replacement is possible. People are already doing it. The problem is, if you think about aging, you need to replace neuron everywhere in your brain. And that's difficult because you have to get them to the place where they need replacement. So you can't imagine like putting a needle in like and doing thousands of injections, because you need all these different areas to have actually new neurons. So what he's doing is a clever trick. Microglia cells are migratory active, so they kind of move on their own through the brain. So the idea is that you make one injection and then they spread, and then he does a transdifferentiation. So this is kind of a tricky thing that we learn kind of like from the reprogramming field. So he then turns the microglia cells into a neuron, but in vivo. So first he kind
That's
of like
amazing.
uses, yeah, it's kind of very exotic. So I think it's also very clever. There are kind of like other angles to it that make it really clever, this project. So he has already done in vivo shows that this works. So the microglia cells do migrate, they do engraft, they do distribute, they make neurons, and the neurons also integrate into the neural network. So all of that is already done, but now he has to tweak it a lot and make it more efficient, because in the moment, microglia to neuron conversion or transdifferentiation is not that efficient yet. But I think the project is doing great and making great progress. So
Are they like astrocytes, or what type of microglia are we talking about?
No, astrocytes is a different type of glia cells in the brain. Microglia are kind of the macrophages of the brain. So highly mobile cells.
One of my favorite courses that I took, even though I was trained in clinical psychology, I got to take a seminar called Neuroglia Nurses or Assassins ?
Okay. So yeah, microglia cells are usually the cells that are taking care of like everything that is infected cells in the brain, bacteria, viruses. So yes, they can be very bad, and they are definitely part of the inflammatory burden that kind of like increases with age. But in a normal brain, they are just maintaining basically a healthy brain.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I think that's basically what's currently going on. All our projects, we have a couple more kind of that we are cooking up and kind of like forming, but they have not started.
Fascinating. And one of the questions from the audience here is, are there certain computational resources that would interest you, such as Julia Lang? But more specifically, is software a roadblock?
Yes. It's complicated. It's not so much a roadblock. It is, if you don't have the right software, if you don't have basically automated analysis, it's slower. We can live without it, but with it, it's usually faster. So there's software, for example, to do kind of tissue analysis. And if it is well written and it's good, it will kind of save us months of time. We have like one computational modeling angle in the MitoSense project, where we are kind of predicting which gene sequences and protein sequences will be more efficient. So there is where we already use modeling tools. So yes, if someone would have had kind of a software perfectly designed for this kind of question that we have, it would definitely be quicker. In the moment, we kind of take software bits and we try to kind of put it together, but we don't really have a lot of like software expert at Sense. We did a lot of like analysis on the senescent cells, which are just like large data set analysis. And yes, their like software can give us a lot of ideas on like which gene pathways are enriched in senescent cells and what drugs are targeting them. So there's a lot of software that can help us.
Awesome.
So yeah, if people out there kind of like want to write software, biology field, the problem is really there seem to not be a lot of money in it. So people writing software for the biology field seem to not make a lot of money unless they're kind of in cancer. So maybe there's not a lot of incentive to create more software. I think it is getting better in recent years, but it's still not kind of awesome. And a lot of the software is so expensive that we really don't want to buy it.
Well, for all of you software engineers out there who have become financially free from Hex and you don't know what to do with yourself and all your time, and you want to, you know, donate your time, donate your money to the Sense Foundation, then this is another way that we can all pitch in and buy more birthdays.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We're always open for collaborations and happy to interact with people that do the software angle. And I think there are a lot of hackathons now. Mostly they are more towards the clocks, the biological aging clocks. So there's a lot of activity there now. But I would hope that other angles become interested or of interest as well.
Fascinating.
Well, seems to me you might it might be worth putting together a page of what some of your software needs are on the website, so that people have an idea of how they might contribute if they're software developers.
Yeah, yes, usually it is easier to do that within like a dialogue in a chat. So I would just tell people like, come and write to us. Maybe we put like a little button on the website for like, here, if you're a software engineer and you want to volunteer, contact us here, so that people know they can volunteer and kind of interact. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Oh, hey. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. Yeah, Matti is kind of like just going over all the activities of Sense Foundation, what we're doing with kind of like the awesome money that we got. Other activities are definitely, we want to kind of increase our space and increase our machine park, because it has been pretty old, pretty run down. So that's another area that we spend money in.
Awesome.
Cool. So you admit to being a Hexican.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm streaming on my.
Talking with you guys. I'm gonna mingle.
Yeah, I'm streaming on my YouTube channel now and encouraging other people who have become financially free in Hex to consider donating more to the Sense Foundation, even after the $27 million that was raised from the Pulse Chain launch. And I think that because people in Hex are long-term minded and have time locked their money for up to 15 years, that people will continue to have the opportunity, hopefully, to give to the Sense Foundation. And as I've found myself saying many times today, like, to buy more birthdays.
Very cool. So, unlike Richard Hart, you have the ability to actually sell some without crashing it. That must be helpful.
That's right. That's right. And for me, I bought myself a DeLorean in the past year, and like in the movie Back to the Future. And we go around to different cities in the US and have meetups to do workshops and tell new people about what Hex is, but also to meet up with all the people who are on this journey together of investing and, like I say, sending money to your future self. It's pretty cool.
So, Matti, if you ever want to organize a meeting like in the San Francisco area, like, let me know. Like, I'm happy to kind of like tell people a little bit more about it, and then in a kind of like more extensive fashion if they are interested. it's always a little bit hard to say, kind of with the hex community, like how much science do you want, like how much information do you want, and it might be different for different people involved. So I think in the meetup it's easier to talk about it. So kind of happy to be involved in if you organize something.
Awesome. That sounds great. I'll reach out to the team that has been traveling around and organizing everything. I'm organizing the Hex conference. We just did our online last weekend and it was extremely successful. It got 10,000 views on the video with the Sense Foundation. And coming up here in 2 months on March 6th through 9th, people can go to the event that I'm hosting in Las Vegas. It's going to be an in-person Hex conference, and we've got tickets at hexconference.com. But we're again going to have an hour of talks from the Sense Foundation, and again encouraging people to donate going forward as their time locks come due. And yeah, so that sounds amazing. I'd love to talk more about setting something up for, because the in-person stuff is really exciting and adds another angle to things. John, what's your background?
Oh, I was actually Sense Foundation's first student 15 years ago. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, digging the deep graves for lysosense enzymes. That was fun.
Awesome.
And since then, I've been in stem cell biology, cell replacement sort of things.
Awesome.
Learning cloning right now to make some new bodies. Oh, there's
Kevin, don't
Kevin
laugh
right
like
behind
this.
me.
When do you need your first test subject?
I am ready to take your fibroblasts anytime.
I'm happy to come over and give you a punch biopsy.
Yeah, punch biopsy, some lidocaine, not too bad.
Happy to do it, no problem. So it's great. Anyway, go ahead.
John, actually, like your project has been picked up by Sense again. Like we have another project on lipofuscin. So we will try to find something that is now working on lipofuscin from human heart, not like with the eye lipofuscin.
Okay, I was kind of disappointed with my oxysterol degrading enzymes. I did all the grave digging for nothing. Like one guy's using the cyclodextrin, the other guy the human enzyme. Like what's with my grave digging?
I mean, like ICOR is still working on it. So
ICOR, that's right. My bad.
Yeah, so they haven't dropped the project. It's still up and running.
Maybe you should get it back. Don't you have a clause in the contract that you can get it back when they don't do anything?
Well, they are active.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Great. Just
so
checking.
they're doing things. Can't talk about details, but yeah, they're active.
Okay. Cool.
I talked to Kelsey not too long ago. He said he's actually making a little bit of headway. Oh, Adam Karata.
He does say that. I know.
I'm just gonna let Adam in.
Adam, long time no see.
Yes, long time. How have you been?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you, Adam. Hey, good. I was supposed to have a customer calling, but they just canceled, so that's why I'm still here, John. I didn't run away from you. I actually
is still running the background music.
Not me.
Maybe turn it off.
Yeah, that's certainly me. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
I think
it was me too. I just turned it off.
I like it. It's so hypnotic.
Not yet. And now we have kids and people in the background.
I just gotta shut off my calls here and then I'll be right to you. Goodbye, guys. I do have actually something to happen, so I'll let you go. Have a good one.
Thank you, Kevin.
So do you all have any questions about Hex?
I do. What's it called? Hexagon? That's not what you call yourselves, or I've never.
So
I'm not even.
Yeah, it's hex.com, and the community calls themselves Hexicans. Yes.
I just learned that like this morning.
And this is the group that, you know, was able to make a lot of money from Richard Hart's first coin, Hex. And that's it's a crypto that allows you to time lock your money anywhere from, you know, you don't have to time lock it, but you can up to 15 years. And that's pretty cool, because if people had time locked their Bitcoin for 3 years from the time that they bought it, there would never be a time when they were down. So Bitcoin has always kind of come back from the grave, so to speak, when it dips 80% and then it goes 10x higher. And so, but it also creates this incentive, I think, for people to be more long-term minded, to accidentally become millionaires because they're not, you know, selling too early. And that allows people to be interested in, as I say, buying more birthdays and donating to the Sens Foundation. That's why I'm here, to help try to promote this this collaboration. And of course, the Richard Hart second coin, Pulse Chain, raised $27 million for Sens, and so we're really excited to hear and meet all of you and hear what you have to say.
Well, nice to meet you, Maddie. I hadn't met you before.
Nice to meet you too, John. What's your association with Sens?
I've been researching life extension and aging since the 1980s. And I knew Aubrey before Sens was even thought of. I'm still very interested in what's coming next and how can I accelerate that. So there have been a couple of experimental drugs that have been in development that never had enough money to get through clinical trials with the FDA. So I've been making them on the side and providing them to experimenters who want to do things.
Incoming call.
To experimenters who want to do things without waiting for the FDA approval.
Awesome.
So I call my company Legendary Pharmaceuticals because I hope that 100 years from now, people will say, I remember way back when they started 100 years ago.
That's amazing.
Well, John, you're already a legend, you know.
Thanks, Paul. Do you know Maddie, Paul?
I don't think so. It's nice to meet you, Maddie.
Nice to meet you. I'm here. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, trying to raise awareness, especially among the Hex community, so that people know they can continue to donate to the Sens Foundation and buy more birthdays.
Well, that's great. Glad to have you here.
And what's your...
Does that mean we're live? Does that mean we're live on YouTube right now?
We're live.
Oh my God. Hi, world.
Yeah, I knew someday we'd all get famous. It occurred to me it would happen this quickly. Oh. Maddie, is this the first Sens event you've been to?
It is.
What do you think?
It's incredible. You know, everybody is so friendly. I've been able to really have one-on-one discussions, group discussions, to meet so many different staff in all different areas. And to be able to share it with the online community has been incredible. The video that I uploaded earlier today from part 1 already got 1,100 views. Sens Foundation spoke at my online Hex conference last weekend and got 10,000 views on that one. So I think it's really helping to get the word out.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being around. I mean,
my pleasure.
Do this stuff without you.
Incoming call.
And what is your association with the Sens Foundation, Paul?
I've been supporting the Sens Foundation, seems like forever, but it's really only been about a dozen years or so. John brought me into this community. John and I have known each other since the Carter administration, if that says anything. It's like 43 years now, is it? Or
something like that.
Yeah,
so
after 40 years, who counts, you know?
Paul is a San Francisco lawyer who may be able to help with projects that require lawyering in the state of California.
Every project requires lawyering. You know? People may hate us, but they always need us. So yeah, that's sort of what I do. I've been John actually got me involved in longevity. I've known him for a long time, as I said, and I always used to sort of write off his crazy ideas, solar power, custom software from India. John, you're out of your mind. And then finally one day he came along and started talking longevity, and I thought, maybe I should listen this time. So I did. And it's been a wild ride, but the community is wonderful and people are doing great things. So thank you, John. I'm giving you some public props here since we're live on YouTube,
Well, thank you, Paul.
It's always a pleasure.
So are there more questions from the online community, Marty?
There was something super technical. Let me see if I can find it here in the comments. What Max says, why not use centrafenoxime for lipofusin buildup?
I think you have to kind of put that in the chat and send it to me because I didn't really get the name of the chemical. So hard to answer that.
And Hodpearl is here. Welcome.
Hello again. I'm here in the evening as well.
Hodpearl, I have to tell you, you have an absolutely wonderful voice. Do you do podcasting as well?
No, but I do stream with Maddie sometimes, so sure.
Yeah.
That's on the internet. It's a webcast. Thank you for the kind words. People have called me a robot and Bart Simpson. And sometimes, but sometimes, they like it. So thanks.
Well, if you were an actual robot, AI has come a long way very quickly.
Maybe Sens can make me into a cyborg. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
So I
to say a few words about your technical question online, getting rid of lipofuscin is a good thing. And if somebody has some ideas for a chemical that will do it, I'm all for it.
I heard the syllable ectomy somewhere in there. Is that this paper where they cut half the lobster's brain off and then the other half vomited the lipofuscin out? I think there was something like that.
No, I think he was saying centrophenoxine or something.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yes.
I thought I heard ectomy somewhere. Oh, there you go. John knows what they're talking about. There you go.
Do you have other online questions?
Okay, so there was that one. And let's see, anybody who's on the live stream now can ask a question. This is a great opportunity. In the meantime, somebody's saying, Hodpearl, tell them more about Hex and Pulse Chain.
Hello, everybody. Hex and Pulse Chain are wonderful. And a lot of the donations from Sense have come from the Pulse Chain sacrifice. Pulse X is now coming out. That's actually for a decentralized exchange token. A new DEX is coming out, so there's still a sacrifice phase for that. Although there wasn't time to set up a donation system for that, but it's still going on.
Call.
If you are into crypto, I highly suggest looking into Hex and Pulse. A lot of us have made a lot of money, a lot of friends, a lot of gains with such. Pulse Chain is a fork of Ethereum with 4 times the throughput. Therefore, a lot of the gas fees are going to be less. It's going to be amazing for crypto, not just the price of Pulse or Hex itself, but crypto in general. It's going to change everything. Just the system of it's going to change. I know they wanted Ethereum to cut the throughput and become a proof of stake for a long time. And Pulse Chain really, the fork cut to the punch, and it's going to happen probably this spring. It's going to be incredible. So if you're a crypto person, I mean, it's a really exciting time to be around.
And it's I think in crypto in general, like it's the incentives are misaligned. these coins can come along and just copy anything and take all the money that they get from initial investors to just create marketing campaigns and then suck more people in when they're just promising something that doesn't exist yet. And that's where Hex really differentiated itself in the last 2 years, is because Hex was launched as a finished product, not a promise coin. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these others, they still need a team of developers to work to keep them running. Hex does not, because the code was released as a finished product. And people still don't appreciate that fact, but that's because it's hard to compete with so much other marketing when the other projects are spending all their budget, all their gains to enrich the founder or something. But in Hex, Richard Hart is believed to have billions of dollars of Bitcoin, billions of dollars of Ethereum, $1 billion of USDC. And so it's thought that he'll never need to sell any Hex, even if he wants to spend $1 billion on medical research, or if he wants to spend $1 billion on marketing or something. So it's really cool to see. It's not just lip service. It's not just marketing. Sure, lots of coins will tell you, they're going to the moon and, they have some technology that doesn't exist yet. But we've seen in the past couple of days, some of the test net has come out for Pulse Chain. And the reason I'm so excited to share this, with all of you is not to get you to invest, but, to just point out that if Pulse Chain does well, which we think it will, because it may represent a leap forward in game theory and the code and technology behind crypto. If Pulse Chain does 100x, like all of these other copies of Ethereum have, like Solana, AVAX did a 50x, BNB did a 30x, Luna did a 1000x, FTM did a 2000x. If it performs like that, there will be, I bet, a lot more money donated to Sens Foundation, because we've already got a group of people who donated this year and who might be willing to donate again.
That'd be great.
I was just in another group and I was explaining that there were a lot of people on DM, because I spend a lot of time in the Telegram chats with these the crypto people, that they were deliberating on whether or not, and a lot of them really got into the Sens Foundation legitimately, not just because it was an option for sacrifice in form of donation, that they saw that maybe the additional 25% that they would have gotten through sacrifice rather than donation, in points, they would end up donating to the Sens later, right? So I don't think the donations necessarily are going to completely stop after one sacrifice phase. I think that now the crypto community knows about Sens Foundation. A lot of them support the whole, MO, what you guys are doing. So, I think that perhaps there will have a lot of crypto supporters from here on in.
If you're in the live stream right now and you're planning to donate in the future to the Sens Foundation, go ahead and leave a comment. Let other people know, even if your money hasn't come out of your time lock yet, or if it has, just share that. I'm sure everybody would be excited to hear from you. I know some people are already saying that they hope to make donations. So,
oh, that's wonderful. We appreciate all the support, and the crypto community has been so generous with us, and also it's just great to have such a warm welcome from a group of people who I think we align so well with. Maddie and I had talked about that previously, about we really do align well. So that's great, and I hope that at our next event we have a lot more of the Hex community joining us.
Totally.
Yeah, there seems to be sort of a natural confluence between crypto and longevity. They're both kind of cutting edge in their own way. And speaking on behalf of the longevity community, to the extent that I'm able to do so, we're all really glad to have you guys with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of people are saying yes. Super Hex are
This is a sad announcement. We are about to end the event. So, oh, I'm having a call at the same time. Let me be right back because this is not working.
There's still
Okay,
some bugs in the
seems to
system.
we have like 5 minutes left.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, a little messy. Well, I wanted to let you know that we're about to finish. The event is going to close in, what, 4 minutes? So everybody will become a pumpkin, or will get trapped in the virtual world and will never be able to get out, or maybe we'll live forever here, so we should stay.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank you all for coming, and I had a lot of fun. I hope you too. And thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time. Have a little more fun for another 3 minutes, and see you around. Thank you again, always.
3 minutes of fun. We better be quick about it.
I'm gonna go run around as fast as I can.
Awesome.
Bye. 3 minutes.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I will also do that. Kind of like do a round to see who I have missed. Marty, it was a pleasure.
Thank
talking
you
to
so much.
Yes.
So my email is on the website for like all future contacts. Just drop me a line and let's get into contact.
That sounds great.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to have to jump to my son Jacob has just arrived, and we have to. Oh, sorry. We're ordering a pizza from a place that closes in 3 minutes. So hold on. John Ferber's on here, Jacob. Oh, hey, John.
Hi, Jacob.
Okay, credit card. How fast? All right, thanks. Okay. Oh, these virtual conferences are so cool, you know?
Yeah.
Maddie, maybe next time you can bring 50 people or 100 people in with you, and you can just wander the halls and learn about things quickly.
That'd be great. Yeah.
How do we find your feed, by the way?
So I am Maddie ALLin on everything. So MATI ALLin
Got it.
on YouTube and Twitter and everywhere else. And you
So
can
we'll look
you can go to hexconference.com and you can see where we streamed last weekend with a couple of NFL players and a couple of people from the Sens Foundation in separate hour blocks, and that was really exciting.
Great to meet you.
Likewise. Yes. Thanks so much for everything you're all doing. We really admire it and are looking forward to the future.
So are we.
Yeah, hopefully it will last a very long time.
Yes.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Take care.
Yeah, I'm going to go for pizza. It's a pleasure seeing you all. Thanks for coming.
Likewise. Hey there, Liam. Awesome. Well, this has been better than I could have imagined. This is amazing. We learned from so many different people here in the Sens Foundation, and I'm really glad that I was able to stream this on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who's watching here. Remember, the Pulse X sacrifice is still happening. Remember that you can still buy and stake Hex, and you can still donate to the Sens Foundation. So go to sens.org and learn more. This is really inspiring stuff. And so thanks to everybody here. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're wanting to see more of what we've got on this channel. We've got live streams every Tuesday night and Thursday night starting at 7:30 Central. And then we have pop-up streams like this from time to time. You can get a ticket to the in-person Hex conference by going to hexticket.com or hexconference.com. And that whole event that we had last weekend with 4 different days of 6 to 7 hours of conference. Each day was amazing. If you scroll back in today's video, about 30 minutes in, we saw Richard Hart pop up for a minute, maybe 30 or 45 minutes in. If you go to the video from earlier today, which was the first 2 hours of the SENS conference, you can see the first person we ran into is Aubrey de Grey. And so you can see us check in with him as well. So thanks again, everybody. I'm going to play an outro and then put up a title screen for the thumbnail on Twitter. So until next time, stake wisely, my friends, sack wisely, and donate to SENS wisely. Peace out.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.